What is going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another edition of On the Road to Victory. I'm your host, Jimmy Smith, and I hope you're all having yourselves a great Friday. That's right. It's the weekend. We got some weird game times and all that stuff going down. So a little bit different than the regular season, but we're here to break it down. And look, we're going to talk about everything from the injury report, the snap count for the offense and defense, whose stock is up, whose stock is down, who I have, and we're going to look at it by position as my roster locks and who's on the bubble. Definitely some changes there. And then the updated depth chart. So changes to all these things that we've been going through for months, but a lot to talk about here. And unfortunately tonight, not going to be able to have a Fan Friday. So going to get it all in right now. So let's jump into it. Appreciate each and every one of you tuning in, whether it's live, later. Love to hear your thoughts on this game, on the off season, this upcoming season, whatever's on your mind. Love to hear about it. Let's effing go. My man Lillian here, doing well. Yo, man, here, ready to rock and roll. My ankle's not broken, so that's great. Just a sprain, so we're going to rock and roll here. I'm pumped up, but we're talking about injuries first. So, look, man, hope you're doing well. Appreciate you taking the time. Let's jump right into this and take a gander at these injuries here. Josh Andrews left the game. He has an ankle injury, waiting to see about the severity there. Tyree Cleveland, he and Moro Ojomo both carted off. They are going to make full recoveries, according to the team. A concussion and a neck sprain for Cleveland. Ojomo gets the concussion there. McPherson, he actually ended up tearing his Achilles. He will be played. Well, he's going on IR here. So very unfortunate season going to be done. He was going to be the backup for Avonte Maddox, was having a great camp. Talked about his versatility. Still like his future for the Eagles, but an unfortunate loss for the season. But we talked about how deep that cornerback room is. So we'll talk about some of those other guys here getting a chance to step up. Nolan Smith, he and Olamide Zaccheaus both left the game, but both were able to come back on the sidelines looking chipper, but they could have gone back in if needed. So they will both be all right. So nothing to worry about there. We'll find out how long for Ojomo, Cleveland, and Andrews. And we're going to hope the best for all those guys trying to get a position here. And I'm very unfortunate for Zach McPherson. Hate to see, him miss the damn season here when he was having such a great camp here. So it is what it is. Look, next man up. That's always the motto, right? And look, a lot of guys have opportunities here. So we're going to take a look at those guys and what opportunities they had. Let's take a look here at the offense first, and we'll talk about what these things mean here. So got them separated by position here, and you can see the quarterbacks. Mariota played that first half and was atrocious. Tanner McKee got that second half, and he looked pretty good again. So a good job by him. The running backs, Kennedy Brooks, again, getting the most snaps here. We kind of know what's going on here. I think for me, we'll talk about the locks and on the bubble and stuff like that. But you can see that, they're giving Trey Sermon an opportunity. He had a mistake, but he tried to clean it up. So these guys are getting their shots. Some of these guys just knocking off some rust with Boston Scott, Kenny Gainwell, and Penny, just a few snaps this game, but he made them worth it. Then you see the receivers. You've got Nada, Kane, Allen, and Cleveland, I'm sure was going to have another big game with all the reps there, but, that injury. So we only had 26 there. But you see a bunch of guys got opportunity. The one thing you notice, Hazelwood down at the bottom, not getting many opportunities. Again, we talk about that. Don't think he's making this roster. Doesn't even look like he could get an opportunity on this practice squad, but we'll see how these other guys do, who gets claimed, all those things. But, these guys are fighting for that fifth spot. So we'll see if the Eagles even keep a fifth wide receiver. Then you see the tight ends here. Look, Stoll and Calcaterra, I think we're going to keep them. I've said it, but Arnold's getting an opportunity here. Brady Russell, both to be, the Stoll and Calcaterra, the blocking and the receiving type tight end. And then Tyree Jackson, he continues to ball out in these off seasons, but need him to stay healthy. And I still see some mistakes in his game. I'm not sure that they keep him over Calcaterra. So could be a practice squad candidate here. We shall see. And then the offensive line, you can see Julian Good-Jones got the most reps here than Kelly, who did well. You had Fred Johnson getting a lot of reps again this game. Then you had Steen, Driscoll, Lopeta, Robinson all getting the same amount. Sills, Toth. Then you see Andrews, who went out of the game. And then Tom and, look, I think Roderick Johnson, Tom, Fred Johnson, we've talked about these guys. Good-Jones, I don't think any of them make this roster, but maybe the practice squad. So you're giving them a lot of reps, seeing what they've got here. Then on the defensive side of the ball, you can see here, the interior guys, we talk about Sagapulo, bringing him in because, this is preseason. You don't want to get guys hurt. Well, sure enough, Ojomo gets hurt. But you see the leaders here in snaps were Ellis and Sagapulo. Then you have Tuipulotu, Street, and Davis and Carter, got, their feet wet a little bit. We talk about that, maybe not so much, more than one, drive there, and that's all they had. So I'm okay with that. Good to see, getting up to game shape. But then you see the edge rushers. Teron Jackson had a good game. He led the way here in snaps and percentage there for the defense and I believe the offense as well. So, you see Janarius Robinson. He was right behind him. Didn't have a great game. Nolan Smith got a chance to play again, but, he had that shoulder injury. He went out and they kept him out. I'm perfectly fine with that. Barnett, a few reps, just getting back up to game speed. He got hurt last year in week 1, you remember. So, looks like, another telling thing right there. Barnett looks like he might be making this roster. I know a lot of people feel a certain way about that, but I think as the 5th edge rusher, I'm okay with it. Now, linebacker, you see Cunningham led the way. I thought he did a good job. Same with Morrow. Jack got his opportunities, Van Sumeren. And then, Ellis played a little bit more than last time. And then Nakobe Dean, I thought did great, for that little amount that he played there, those couple drives. And look, that's what you wanted to see from him. Healthy, ready to lead the way. And who wants to be the guy next to him? A lot of guys getting opportunity here. We're going to find out here shortly. They're going to want to know after, this week and coming into the next preseason game, you kind of want to pair these guys together. Who's going to be the linebackers? And then the same goes for the safeties down there. And you see Kayvon playing a lot of snaps. I don't know that bodes well for what we've talked about. I think they're giving him these opportunities because they want to see everybody in these opportunities. So not so sure how the hell I cut out Justin Evans there, but I guess I did. And he, to me, they had him back as a punt returner. I found that to be very, very intriguing. But let me take a gander here real quick. I've got it written down. I just don't know how I cut him out. But Evans had 21 reps, which was good for 24% there. So he was the lowest. And, Sidney Brown, I think, is getting a lot of reps because he's trying to be that starter. Edmonds, they're trying to find out if he's going to be that starter. And I think Evans showing off his versatility that he can help as a returner, safety that can play both spots. And I think, with his starting experience, that's definitely a plus. But all those guys battling it out, Wallace, Edmonds, and Evans with McCollum. I think Sidney Brown, he's just trying to prove that, he deserves to be the guy starting next to Reed Blankenship. So, man, excitement. I love me some Sidney Brown. So excited to see how this plays out. Then you see we've got the corners here. Goodrich led the way, then Garner, then Ringo, Ricks, McPherson, big loss, hate that. Then Scott, Job, and Greedy. Now, for Greedy, that's not great, man. He has not looked the greatest in training camp and hasn't really been getting a lot of opportunity that these younger guys are to show off what they've got. So, for me, I think Ricks, Garner, and Goodrich all have a better chance over Greedy. I think Job playing sparingly because he's going to be that backup. He's definitely making that roster now. I already had him, McPherson, and Ringo as the backups and possibly a 7th corner. Now, you're looking at the 5 I think, in my opinion, I'll just save that because we're about to get into that. So, ladies and gentlemen, you see there's the snap count for the offense, defense. Let me know how you feel about that, who you thought should have got more, maybe less, whatever's on your mind there. But let me jump over to the chat real quick, and then we're going to take a look at whose stock is up, whose stock is down. And, for the players that, already, like Jalen Carter, he didn't really play that much. I think, we know where he's at. His stock's not going to go up. I think it's through the roof already, baby. So appreciate you tuning in, my man. And I did get my ankle looked at. It is not fractured, baby. It is just a sprain. But we got a week under our belt. He ruined my final vacation this weekend. He's ruined me putting my damn room together. I've got my fantasy draft on Monday. So crutches. Yeah, sweet. I love it. But appreciate you asking, my man. Hope you are doing well. Fly, Eagles, fly. You know it. Let's go. Zach, look, we talk about his versatility. They were playing him inside, outside. He got beat a couple times, and I talked about that on last night's show. I think, dabbling with both, you better be careful. And he's still a very young man, and I think with that versatile skill set, that's going to help him be on this roster for the next couple of years. But now he's got to go back to square one next year, prove that he's healthy, and it's unfortunate, he was going to make this roster. So Hate to see it. Hey, I was just saying there, it's not broken. So excited there. Been trying to ice it, do what I can. I was like, all right, gotta get up, make the show. Nina, let's go. Happy Friday to you as well. Hopefully you enjoyed that game. We talked about a lot of the notes from that, but now we're going to talk about what we liked, what was up, down. I want to hear what you guys have to say. Hope you, Eagle, and Mama are doing well. Let's go, birds. Can't wait for the dance videos. Again, I followed you on Twitter there. I've got a new one, but I'll have to turn notifications on or something so I can see your post. I haven't seen you yet, but I'm trying to get that thing back up and rolling with all of my people. So cannot thank you enough for tuning in here, and I hope you're having a great Friday. My man Drew in here. Let's go. Hope you're doing well, my man. Appreciate you taking the time. I know you've got a lot of craziness going on, so you even stopping in means the world, my dude, and I hope all is well for you too. Figuring it out with this ankle. I'm still petrified of what's going down. Dude, Monday I got to go to the link, and I wanted to take video walking around doing stuff. I've got crutches. This is going to be very, very interesting how this is going to go down. But look, diversity. We're gonna diversify ourselves and figure it out and keep all moving, my man. So no, he looked terrible as a returner. I was saying that last night. I think because of McPherson getting hurt. Don't know why. Maybe he didn't with Greg Ward. If him not making the roster, I think it's kind of that emergency situation. You're in preseason, so who cares? Find out. So I think Evans, you're giving him a shot back there. So if he's on this roster, if anything were to happen, to Covey or whoever the guy is, you have him. But no, I would not. I agree with you 100%. No. And you heard me last night. There's some other people I would like to see back there as a returner, and definitely wasn't Justin Evans. I did not give you that name at all through the last couple of weeks. So Eagles just keep throwing us curveballs, and McPherson back there, Sherman on kick returns. So Seamus, my dude, appreciate you tuning in, my man. Let's go. Hope you're doing well. And yeah, man, he sure did. I did not enjoy him back there. That was tough to see, but hey, part of football, and that's why we talk about preseason. Let's get out of here. And when everybody wants all the starters to be playing, this is what we talk about. Please, no, because I don't want to see these. I don't believe so. It's at OTR to victory, same one, but you just add a 1. We're a work in progress. I've been trying to use it more, but it's actually been nice. It's just all right, whatever. And before, I had almost 6,000 followers, so used to be all out war. Now it's I'm seeing the people that are following me. I'm following them back. I've tried, if I know you guys, I'll try to see it. I don't really get on enough to see, I usually just posted stuff anyway, but at least you guys, people were commenting and liking, and I could see stuff. Now we're back to square one, man. So you go from almost 6,000 to about 100 now. So, but I don't care. You guys know I'm not trying to be the coolest on social media because I can't stand half the stuff out there, but about 90%. But this is for you guys. This is for family. So whatever, I get on those things for you guys. So, I know a lot of you guys use Facebook. I try to use that more. I can't stand that one. I don't use Instagram much, but I always post my stuff there. The threads, YouTube, community. I do it all for you. I try to spread my wings and I even did create a TikTok a while ago, but come on. I really, for you guys were asking, but I don't know. But I'll look forward to seeing you. I think, if you did follow me back, I just missed it, but I appreciate you, and I'll be looking forward to those videos. I know I'm following you, so I should be seeing your damn stuff. But again, with this ankle, I've literally just been a miserable turd, but it's actually given me a lot of time to get stuff done that I wanted to graphic-wise. So just laying back, having the computer, staying off my phone. So, yeah, man, I had some trolls, dude, and they came hard for me, and it's the same people because they didn't agree that Jalen Hurts would develop. So they've been gunning for me because I have all those awesome receipts, from, and not just Jalen Hurts. We're talking Howie Roseman, Nick Sirianni, me calling 5 drafts in a row, me, all the free agents we'd signed. So they got rid of all that content. But guess what? I don't care because I've got the skill set. So that's what keeps me going, right? That gives me the belief that I can do this and work for the Eagles. So I know what I'm capable of. It's still on my resume. I've still got the YouTube videos and things that I need to have. So yeah, it sucks. I don't like that they took away the connections I had with people, but it's perfectly fine. I know that if you're not doing it right, if you don't have haters. So I feel a little blessed. I'm not gonna lie to you, but yo, Quadir, appreciate you tuning in, my dude. Hope you are doing well. And hey, I really appreciate that. And we're working our way. And because of this ankle, I missed a nice little surprise training camp visit. Well, actually would have been one of those joint practices. But, speaking of him, he reached out to me, and I told you guys this last night on the show, but in case you missed it, I asked him, is Hassan Reddick going to be ready for week 1? Should we be worried? What? But he said, look, not only is he going to have a cast, but it was something about a ring, like a ring protector thing on his finger. Let me scroll up here. Oh, my God. Embarrassing. So he said, no, they have, because I asked if, is that something like that should linger? Should I worry? And he said, no, they have custom carbon fiber rings on custom carbon fiber rings. I think I said fiber. Anyways, that you put on the gloves, and then they might put a cast over it, whatever. So the custom carbon fiber ring finger dinger, that should make us feel good. But making the connections, man. And look, I had this guy on my show. We talked about Jalen Hurts a few years ago. I'm doing what I can to get in that room, but I want to do more, than just be a reporter. I want to be Dave Spadero on crack, right? And with a lot of hair. So, hey, Dave, congrats to you, man. That wasn't a shot at you. It just meant I've got a lot of hair. Pretty awesome. He got married at the Link. That is a dream of mine, but don't know if that is her dream. So maybe we'll have to work that out. I don't know. But, let's keep this train rolling. Appreciate the kind words, dude. And I'm going to keep working up till we get there. But let's take a look at who stocks up, who stocks down after that game. And we'll start off with the negative here. Who we got down? And, only picked a few here, but Hazelwood just not taking advantage of the opportunities, and this week just not getting those opportunities. And what he did, look, it wasn't the greatest pass from McKee, but you got to make that catch if you want to have your stock going somewhere, and it's going down. Don't think you're making this roster. Miles Jack, given the opportunity, but I think Zach Cunningham is blowing him out of the water. You remember a few months ago during free agency period, I talked about this. I think if we're talking the top 2 guys I wanted to sign in Miles Jack and Zach Cunningham, clearly we signed them both. But I said during that show, I would take Cunningham over Jack, and I still feel that way. I think Cunningham's the better player there at this point, and that's just how I feel. Now, Marcus Mariota, I still think he's going to be the backup here, but stop down, man. You're giving, McKee an opportunity to be the third quarterback here, and maybe you get cut somewhere, later in the season. I still think he's going to be on this initial 53, but not looking good for him. Then you have Janarius Robinson. You got a lot of opportunity here, and look like crap. So he had a couple penalties I saw, and we talked about this last week. Just don't see him making this roster. So then Josh Sills. Now, still a fan of Josh Sills. I just think it showed a little bit that he's been out of football. Last week I thought he did well being thrown in the fire. This week I saw him get his ass kicked a couple times. Now maybe there were some great things I didn't see. Couldn't watch him every damn play, but I thought, a little stock down there, giving some opportunities so that maybe we keep some more depth, because we talk about his versatility to play guard and tackle, and that goes a very long way. But, hey, you got to be doing good here. Did not do that, in my opinion. Now, last guy, Ty Zentner, was given the opportunity to play the whole game. You didn't see Aaron Sipos at all, and Ty Zentner looked like ass. I'm not going to lie to you. It sucked. So, yikes. Sipos really open. You've got things figured out. You're healthy because, you're a huge reason why we lost that last game there. So it's a team effort, but when you shank a punt and your, kick teams go in the complete opposite direction of where you kicked it, doesn't work out well, as we all know, at the 1 yard line. Anyways, let's talk about something positive. Let's talk about whose stock is up, and we're going to start it off with the offense here, just in alphabetical order. No specific order here, guys. Same that went for the other one. But you've got Tyree Jackson here. I thought had a pretty damn good game. And look, if he wants to make this practice squad, I think he's got to, continue to look good here. But I don't think he's making this roster. But I think a good job by him to get his stock up. So good job there. Talked about Dennis Kelly before this game. Wanted to see him get a big opportunity to show, hey, I'm a veteran tackle that could be useful. I'm not sure, that some of these other guys we've talked about with Steen and, Driscoll can play tackle and all these guys. So maybe you don't need Kelly at all, but I thought he did a good job of trying to show, hey, I could be used on this offense. I don't know that he makes his roster, but he did a good job getting his stock up. Johnny King took advantage of his, and he got opportunities, but it was, limited. Again, there were other guys getting way more opportunity than him, almost double. So he went out. He makes a nice catch for a 2-point conversion. Then he makes that nice big grab. So I thought he did well. maybe he's a practice squad candidate. He's got that 6'5" size. Maybe you beef him up, try to, that Tyree Jackson tight end role. Hey, F-type tight end, we'll see. But I enjoyed that, and I know Liz enjoyed it. We're calling him 6'5", but yeah, he's a big dude. Now, Tanner McKee continues to rise his stock, and hey, he's making the Eagles consider, do we need to keep a QB3? Because if you try to let him go on waivers and put him on the practice squad, a team could easily snag him up and say, no way. I mean, you're looking at teams that, could use a quarterback. Look at the Buccaneers. They'd be like, oh, well, yeah. I mean, you're just sitting here thinking how valuable a quarterback is. So to me, it's not necessarily like, oh, he's beating out Mariota and you cut Mariota. I think you keep all three of them, which I don't think is necessary because you can dress a third quarterback. So this is a really weird situation. Again, maybe Mariota doesn't, but he's making a conversation with his stock rising. So that's where we're at. We're in the conversation there. Now, Joseph Nada, we talked about last week, did not do well with a lot of opportunity. This week, I thought he turned things around. Really like what I saw from him. We've talked about him throughout camp. Really like what he was able to bring to the table. And Joseph Nada, I am a fan of that young man. And I think that if you just continue, to build on these little camps, you'll get a shot in the practice squad. I don't, again, think that he makes the active roster. I don't know that we keep a fifth wide receiver other than maybe a Covey because you feel he's the guy that is going to be that returner for you. But, I thought Nada had 3 catches, 39 yards. I thought he did well. And the same goes for Penny. I thought he did pretty well with his limited reps there. Then you talk about Trey Sermon. He had a couple mistakes, man. He fumbled. Then you talk about that missed block. I was like, this is not good. But what I loved was Jalen Hurts going over there, giving him a little talk. And I thought, man, that is really special. But I want to see this kid actually do something now. Well, he came out and did just that, had a great rest of the game. And, they put the ball in his hands to show that he could. And then, of course, Kennedy took over near the end. But I thought he did a great job. And look, again, not so sure he makes this roster, but he did a good job, raising his stock and showing other teams that, he's got some talent. He was a 3rd-round pick for a reason. Loved that touchdown run he had for, 33 yards or something. Thought he did well. So, look, he definitely rose his stock to me, in my opinion. And, look, 5 carries, 54 yards, that's pretty damn good. So, keep doing your thing, young man. And then Tyler Steen, his stock going up, I think, just his versatility across the board. I've talked about it. He's the right guard of the future, but I think that obviously, he could be depth as a left tackle. He could be depth as guard. You do a lot of things. You have a lot of question marks, and they're trying a lot of different things. Everybody's getting opportunity. They're mixing and matching stuff. So we shall see, but I'm a big fan of Steen, and he's just, I think the way he dominates, whether it's at left tackle or right guard, he's making it like, look, I know you want to just give this job to Juergens, but I think he's still hollering, man. He's still there, man. And look, whether Juergens is starting or Steen, I don't care. I think that this offensive line is going to be great, but eventually Steen is that right guard. And clearly Juergens will be that center. Now let's talk about the defense here. And, Sidney Brown, he just, every time I see him on the field, I want to run through an effing wall. You guys know when we drafted him, I was ready to run through a wall. Love this kid. So let's go, man. We talked about him punching that ball out, even though the guy scored a touchdown on Ricks and Evans missing that, punch out. I thought, him coming in at the end there, just loving his hustle. Loved to see him flying around. Saw him change direction, flip his hips, and go across field from the opposite side of the hash. And I thought, this is what we've talked about, during the pre-draft process, why this kid would be great for this team. And I'm seeing it, and I love it. Stock up, baby. Go get that starting job with Reed Blankenship. But I've said it, whether it's Terrell Edmonds or Sidney Brown starting, and I think that's who it's between. Look, maybe Justin wants to surprise people, but I think that, you're going to use 3 safeties. So everybody's going to see some time. We've talked about, the dime linebacker, the nickel back, the guys that can play those versatile roles. And I think that, when you're talking about Terrell Edmonds being able to do that, Sidney Brown, it's excitement for me. So I feel a little bit more safe about that safety position than others. Now, Zach Cunningham, I thought he did a really well. We talked about Miles Jack's stock going down. I think Cunningham's went up. And I've said it before, I think if you're picking one of these veterans, it's going to be Cunningham. I think Morrow you have as, your coverage guy, and Ellis. So Cunningham becomes that versatile, can play middle linebacker, outside linebacker. He becomes depth too. So I think in the end, it's Nakobe Dean and Nicholas Morrow, but I thought Cunningham did a great job showing why he should be the veteran depth here. But Nakobe Dean, we talked about how he came in, but proving why he is the green dot guy. His stock is up. Excited about the leader of this defense. Let's go. Christian Ellis, stock up, baby. He continues to go out there and shine every opportunity. Love what he's showing. And it's not just that, he's going to make this roster. He's a special teamer, but he's fighting for a job with Morrow as that starter next to Dean, and I love that. And, speaking of Morrow right under Dean there, I think that he is fighting for that job. He has done pretty damn well, did great in the first preseason game, did pretty good yesterday, saw some good things. So I think these guys stock up after that game. Mario Goodrich, I thought, look, I've talked about this. I thought he and Garner did better than Ricks, and I thought Goodrich was the best of all of them. But now with Zach McPherson out for the season, Goodrich, his versatility is something we've talked about. This dude can play inside corner, so I think he might be that backup to Avonte Maddox. Hey, we'll see if he can make the active roster. Maybe they try to stash him on the practice squad and hope they can elevate him if need be. But we know Avonte's history, so we'll see. But then you see Teron Jackson here. Thought he had a great game, the most snaps for the edge rushers, and he made it worth it, man. He looked really good out there. Josh Jobe, he was kicking ass. I think he is phenomenal making this roster. Stoked. We talked about Morrow. Nolan Smith, before that shoulder injury. Look, I still think he needs some development when going up against, the starters in the NFL. But he's behind Reddick. He's behind Sweat and Graham. I think he's going to get that opportunity. He's going to have limited reps. He's going to learn a lot from these guys. And I think he's going to have a bright future here. I am ready to run through a wall for this kid. I love it. Let's go. And all I mean by developing is, just working on some things and putting on some weight. And I think he'll be just fine. Marlon Tuipulotu, we talked about him. Don't sleep on him. And yesterday, I think he proved that. So his stock is up for me. I really think Tuipulotu is making this conversation interesting as to who we keep in the interior defensive line here. So those were my guys that were stock up, stock down. Love to hear your thoughts. Anybody else stick out to you? Now, I didn't put guys like Eli Ricks because he was kind of up and down for me, so didn't really go up. He didn't really go down for me. Ringo, the same thing this week. But there were some other guys that were definitely just kind of for me. But if you guys have any further thoughts, love to hear that. But we're going to get into looking at this roster by position. I've got some different locks here and who's on the bubble, so we shall see. And I like McKee, and I like, Mariota. Being in his 8th system in 9 years, playing with the starters, I think would be a little different. You're not winning a Super Bowl with him, but I think that he's serviceable. I think Tanner McKee the same, and if McKee can eventually take the job, you can cut him, whatever. But, AEP, appreciate you tuning in. Hope you're doing well. Going through talking about this game, talking about what we learned yesterday, and excitement all abound. And look, I think that this, injury stuff, it sucks, but it's part of the game. We were very lucky last year to avoid a lot of stuff, so let's just stay calm. This last preseason game will be done, and dude, we're 23 days away from game 1. Let's go, baby. So pretty excited here. Now, let's take a look at these locks and who's on the bubble here by position. We're going to go through each one. You'll see all the people that are competing at each position. Love to hear your thoughts on this. Let's start it off with the quarterbacks. And again, I think, Mariota is your backup here. If he would continue to just be ass next week, I mean, I guess you got to consider, but you know who he is. He's a veteran. He's decent. And he's looked like complete garbage the last couple of weeks, so it is concerning, but he's still new to the system. He's playing with backups, so I'm not losing my mind like the media is trying to make people do. So, I think for me what it means is just Tanner McKee is now opening the door to try to get a roster spot. And before, where it was you only need 2, you could bring up a third guy from the practice squad, hoping McKee would be that guy. Now I'm not so sure McKee would make it to our practice squad. So I think he is definitely pushing for a spot. He's not a lock for me. 2 good preseason games is a good step in the right direction, but we're going to need to see what he does in this third one. And throughout these joint practices here, what happens with these guys, you're going to see mostly starters in the joint practices. But, hey, this is their opportunity. These next 11 days here before cut downs, 29th is that cut down period. You only have 1 this year. So you got 11 days to prove it, guys. Now, running back, I had a little change here, ladies and gentlemen. Boston Scott. Look, we talked about it. I think, Sermon given the opportunity to, prove that he could be the 4th, maybe take Penny's job. But Penny is a lock for me. And Boston Scott, just the usage for these guys in the preseason, kind of telling to me that I think these 4 are who the Eagles plan on using. And I'm all about it, dude. I think that's one of the best running back corps in the game. And Sermon, had his mistakes. He did well also. And I thought, coming back like that, coming back strong, that's what you want to see. So good job by him. But I'm not so sure he makes this roster. Kenny Brooks not making this roster, but maybe practice squad. Now Sermon, I think he's doing good enough that maybe another team picks him up. But Boston Scott, to me now, I just feel with him being able to return the ball, they have Trey Sermon back there. So I'm guessing they're planning on using Boston Scott again, which doesn't exactly make me thrilled, but he is serviceable back there. Maybe one of these young guys, I don't know. Maybe you try to use them. I don't know. But wide receiver, still the same here. I've got the same top 4 guys as locks, and I don't know that you need to keep a 5th. Again, you can elevate someone if need be in Covey. But Covey, if you really feel he's progressed as a receiver and it helps you, and he did do pretty damn well at the second half of the season last year in punt returns. He was one of the better, returners in the NFL. So maybe they like him that much that they keep him. I think Alameda could be the punt returner, though. And I've talked about Rashad Penny as the kick returner, if Boston Scott's not used there. So maybe they're just hiding their hand here and not showing anyone their hand with, those 2 guys I just mentioned. Now, Alameda did get some punt returns. So that was yesterday. He got in the preseason game, and he's done it in training camp. So he could do it. So Covey doesn't have to make this roster. I've seen some people saying he's a lock. I don't think so, man. He's been banged up with a hammy injury. So maybe he just gets placed on IR or something. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure what happens there. Then you've got tight end here. A change a-coming. Now, I almost had Calcaterra as a lock as well. But, I think for me, Stoll is the blocking guy. And Russell's not going to take his job. So that makes him tight end too. Now, who's the F-type tight end? That's the receiving. F-type just means a receiving type tight end. So Grant Calcaterra, Dan Arnold, and Tyree Jackson. That's what all 3 of those guys are. Now, Calcaterra, to me, he's the younger guy. He has the highest upside here. So I think for me, you're going with Grant Calcaterra, but I also think the competition is still wide open. Tyree did well. Dan hasn't done anything, but Grant hasn't necessarily made you jump off the page here freaking out about his stats. So I think that's still open, but I think Calcaterra ends up winning it. But I've got those first 2 as locks. And, throughout camp here, I've only had 1 lock, and that was Goddard. So little change there. Now, no change to the offensive line. When it comes to tackles here, you've got, Driscoll, who can play both tackle and guard. The Twin Towers are the starters. Love it. Don't know that you need to keep any of these other guys. Brett Toth has versatility, but I think you could just try to put him on the practice squad. Same goes for maybe one of the Johnson guys or Dennis Kelly. And then the interior offensive lineman, I have Sills as a lock still. I think that he's going to make it with his upside, his versatility here. I know Stout loves him. He just got back, so he had his struggles, but I'm okay with it. But you see, obviously Kelsey and Dickerson, are the starters. They're definitely locks. Juergens and Steen, one of them's going to be right guard, probably Juergens to start the season. And then Sills, it brings that versatility. Now, I don't know that you need any of these other guys with, having Sills and Driscoll and Steen as the versatile pieces. Then you just put a couple of these guys on the practice squad, and then you elevate if need be. So that's just my opinion. But then into the defense here, interior defensive lineman, I changed this one. I've got Moro Ojomo as a lock. I think he's shown, even, with getting that concussion, hope all is well, and he gets back, to doing his thing soon. I think that even if he doesn't play next preseason, I've got this guy. He has shown enough that his versatility, his skill set fits what we're trying to do here, and he has a bright future. And I think he's a perfect backup to Milton Williams. So for me, I've got him locked in. And Marlon Tuipulotu is really giving Kentavious Street a run for his money. And I think I've talked about this. You could keep 6, but you could also keep 7. You could keep Tuipulotu and Street. So maybe you go with the 5 I have here as locks. Maybe they don't go with the Jomo. But the first 4 are pretty damn clear. Carter, Davis, Cox, and Williams. But beyond that, you've got a little competition there. And I'm intrigued to see what goes down with Tuipulotu and Street here. Now talking about the edge rushers on this line. Oh, yeah. So Son Reddick on one side, Sweat on the other. And, Nolan Smith and Brandon Graham I've got as the backups locked in. Now here's the change. Derek Barnett as a lock. That's right. And just from their usage in the preseason, what they've shown me, and I've said this before, they restructured his contract, moved money around. I think he'll be going after next year, but why not? A former first-round pick. Yeah, he didn't live up to the first-round hype, beating Reggie White's record at Tennessee. But as a fifth edge rusher, the fifth guy in the rotation, I think I'm okay with it, man. And Janarius Robinson hasn't exactly shown me anything. Patrick Johnson, a little banged up, so he hasn't been able to. Love me some Patrick Johnson, though. Kyron Johnson is a stud, but did not see him yesterday, so not sure. But he plays, edge rusher, but can play off-ball linebacker as well. So really intrigued to see. I love his, skill set, 4.3 speed. I think that he's got a bright future too. Teron Jackson, talked about what a great game he had. I'm not sure he makes it to our practice squad. Someone could definitely scoop him up. He did great. But look, there's still competition to be had. And the question is, do you keep 6? Do you keep 7? And I think it's Patrick and Kyron Johnson, and you could keep 7 of them. So Robinson, Jackson, probably not going to make this squad. And Jackson, man, I'd love to see him on the practice squad, but not sure that happens. Now, linebacker, I've got Ellis and Morrow back as locks. I took them off as locks when Cunningham and Jack got here, but I think they've proven they're going to make this roster. And Zach Cunningham, as I've said, I think he's got the upper hand on Jack, but I'm not just going to give him the lock just yet. I want to see it one more preseason game. I want to see what he does in these joint practices. But I think it's going to be those 3 I have as locks and Zach Cunningham as our 4 linebackers. And I've talked about it, with the multiple schemes we use, you could have guys like Terrell Emmons, Kayvon Wallace, Sidney Brown moving around doing dime linebacker things. So don't necessarily have to have a loaded linebacker room. Ben Van Sumeren, I think, very athletic kid, high upside, but you're going to try to stash him on the practice squad. He's new to linebacker. Sean Bradley was placed on IR, so it's a big loss. So somebody needs to be able to play special teams. I think Christian Ellis can definitely. He's shown he earned himself a roster spot last year doing that. So just continue to do that. I think he'll be all right. Now, in the secondary, clearly, cornerback, we have a change. Zach McPherson going on IR. I thought he was a lock to make this, and it's really unfortunate. But, I've got Job as a lock now. I'm confident in saying it. He's making this squad. And it was a battle royale after the top 4, I thought. But for me, it was going to be Job, McPherson, and Ringo as the backups. But now, you've got Ringo and Job as backups, but who's your interior guy? So we've talked about it. Goodrich can play inside. Garner can. Ricks has dabbled. Josiah Scott can, but I don't think he's making this roster. Greedy, more of an outside guy. Don't think, but he can dabble too. But I don't think he is making the squad either. So... But now, with that injury, it has opened things up for this next 11 days to find out who wants to take that 6th spot. Not so sure you would keep 7. So, hey, but for me, those are the top 5 guys that I have locked in. Then at safety, the same here. Same 3 are locked in for me. And then who wants to be that 4th guy between Evans, Wallace, and McCollum? That has been throughout camp how I feel about that position, and I will continue to feel that way. Now, at special teams, again, Zentner did horrible, so I think Zippos might be taking this job, but I'm not going to lock him in just yet, but kind of seeming that way. Now, on special teams, while we're there, let's talk about the return specialists. And talk about Justin Evans being thrown in there now. Okay, I just replaced him with Zach McPherson since McPherson's out. But you've got guys that have this ability to return and have done it in their career. So, we talked about Evans being back there and Sermon. Okay, I saw Kane finally. He had a nice return. I liked that, but I wanted to see Cleveland back there. Probably not going to now with his injury. Nada, did not get to see him. Zacchaeus, you saw for a minute. Penny did in practice, but I haven't got to see that. Quez has been out with the hammy. So, look, it's really up in the air. Again, I'd love to see them throwing us a curveball and have Rashad Penny as the kick returner, Lamade Zacchaeus the punt returner. And, if they don't feel that way, that's good for them. But that's just my opinion. I think, you don't have to keep an extra spot for a returner unless you really, really like Covey, which, again, I'm not against Covey. I like Covey. I thought he was one of the better returners at the end of the season. But I'm not that sure that he's that important that I have to keep him unless he's progressing as a wide receiver. So just haven't seen it myself, but maybe it's happening. Now, let's take a look at all that stuff you just saw and take a gander at that updated depth chart. All those positions thrown in here. Now, anybody that you see in green is new to the team this year. And look, you're you've got a lot of green here, a lot of depth that was added, 1A, 1B for me, Gainwell, Swift, they're both going to have a big piece there. Penny behind them. I think that, again, Mariota, McKee, that's you need more than 2 preseason games for him to, unseat the veteran. But look, I love that he's created that conversation that there could be a third quarterback. Scott, I think he's taking that job over Sherman, but hey, we'll see. Now, Brown, Smith, Watkins, and then Alameda. But beyond them, look at all the receivers there fighting for a job. Tight end, like I said, I want to see that pan out. And then offensive line, see how many they're actually going to keep here. So some of these guys, one last hurrah here. You got 11 days to go out and show it. Then on defense here, again, if you've never seen this show, 12 players listed as starters because I want you to see the 5-man fronts, and I also want you to see 4-man fronts with the nickel corner. All you gotta do is take out one of those defensive tackles. So you can see here, we've got depth across the board. You got a couple guys that are, new to the team that could be starters in Jalen Carter, Sidney Brown, the rookies, and then the free agent Nicholas Morrow, or maybe it's Cunningham next to Dean. Maybe it's Ellis next to Dean. We'll find out. But I love this team. And again, I think they're top 3 offense, top 3 defense. I think we're winning the Super Bowl and building a dynasty because of all this depth you see here. How Howie has continued to build this roster. So still very excited. And don't worry, I did not leave off the special teams. Unfortunately, Zentner not taking that from Sipos. And I want the guys that I have as backups behind Covey and Scott, but I haven't seen anyone take those jobs from Covey and Scott yet. So I still just got them in there. So Alameda, Penny, maybe Ward. I doubt he makes this roster. He was on the practice squad last year. Quez, maybe he got better at returning somehow. But now Tyree banged up. Don't know that those are the guys you see there. But, well, ladies and gentlemen, that is actually it. That is all the things you needed to know from that game, whether it was the injuries, the snap count, stock up, stock down, roster locks on the bubble, and then, of course, the depth chart we just looked at. But if you got anything from this, do me a favor. Hit that like button down below. And, yes, he agrees here, Lonely Bee, as I just mentioned, that Covey can just be elevated. But I love you all, and I appreciate you all tuning in. Again, I will not be having Fan Friday tonight. I apologize. I will be back tomorrow, though. But I hope you're all having a great start to your weekend. Let's go! It's Friday, baby, and we're 23 days away from Eagles football, and that gets me a little bit excited. But if you're watching this later, you have any thoughts on that, what I just said, please feel free to leave it down below. If you need me, you just need a friend, whatever's going on here, you can always reach out. It doesn't have to be about the birds. Any of these platforms down below. Love to talk to you guys. Love to be there for you. You're always here for me, and I love the hell out of each and every one of you. Thank you for helping me get through all of this chaos currently in my life. But we're going to make it through, man. Eagles football is so close. I can almost taste it. But I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Until next time, I'm Jimmy Smith, and this is On the Road to Victory. You all stay safe out there, and as always, say it with me now. Go Birds!